What is up, everybody? My name is Danny Ferrari.
My name is Parker Immense.
And we are Excellent Sound, and we're back with a banger video, bro.
We got our swords, bro. We got our weapons.
We're gonna be talking a lot about piss whistles today, bro. ISO piss whistles.
Yep.
ISO hybrid trap piss whistles. It's all about hybrid trap. It's all about UKG right now, guys, because we dropped Quest for Bass Volume 2. You guys are loving it. You're going nuts about it, right? It's got a ton of Serum presets. It's got a ton of samples. This is actually one of the project files that is included in the early access. The link is in the description down below if you guys want to check out more details and see what kind of project files you get, what type of remakes you get, what type of Serum presets, what type of sounds, all that stuff. All that info is down below if you guys want to get your copy. But right now, we're going to be jumping into this insane lead. This is super ISO style lead, but it's in that UKG vibe. It's one of 7 project files that we have for this. For this
is like the viral hybrid trap sound that everybody's trying to get, everybody's trying to achieve. There's not a lot of tutorials online about this, and we're gonna go in deep.
And we got it totally free for you guys in the download description below. Also, quick side note, Parker and I will be going live on October 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Why are we going live? Because we're doing some special stuff for Quest for Bass Volume 2. We are announcing the winner of the contest. We're giving away a whole studio setup.
There's gonna be 3 winners.
3 winners, right? Machine Micro, and of course the Excellent Sound entire library. We're gonna be doing that at 2 p.m. Also, if you guys wanna get some of your music heard, we're gonna be doing some live feedback that day. You guys can show up and send us your songs, especially show us your songs that if you already have Quest for Bass Volume 2 or Quest for Bass Volume 1, show us the songs that you guys have made, because we definitely wanna hear those.
I miss going live, dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while.
So
I think
again,
it's been like a month or so.
It's been a minute. We've been having trouble. We got everything fixed up now. So October 6th, 2 p.m. PST, be there, bring your tracks. We're gonna do some production. It's gonna be a great time. We're gonna be giving away packs, other shit. It's gonna be awesome, bro. I'm stoked.
It's gonna be sick.
So we'll see you guys there. Let's jump into the video, my man. All right, so this song is crazy, bro. I mean, we only have time to play the whole thing, but let's just play the drop and we'll talk about this nice little, we dubbed it the piss whistle, right?
Yep.
And it sounds pretty pissy, and you'll see why. Here it goes.
We on fire.
Just imagine, they're just they can better have edited just piss all over our faces when I was going
just
like this.
ISO piss.
ISO
dude.
Piss, bro. Filipino piss, bro.
ISO PISS, dude.
ISO Piss is a sick fucking name.
That is, dude.
That's a sick name. ISO Piss. Next pack, ISO Piss. So yeah, if you guys couldn't tell, we're making this little lead right here. It's kind of interesting Perc lead, and we're using Serum 2, and there's a lot of cool shit that you can do with Serum 2. We're gonna talk about that, right? It's this little guy right here. Really, really cool sound, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So the first thing is so you can do this at home if you want. We're using 3 different Perc samples, and I think one of them is from another one of our packs. But basically, if you want to find anything, we have these cool synth shots. They're just little one-shots. It's kind of whistly, right? If you ever looked up the old Crane bamboo samples.
It's a classic.
Yeah, they're very percussive. You want to find something like that. It's almost cowbell-ish, but it has a little bit more of a wood sound. Here it's a little bit of reverb.
Yeah, you kind of want it to be like a rim shot, but a little bit more hollow.
Yes, yeah. So you can find a bunch of samples in our stuff or in other samples. You want to find samples that are similar to that. So these are our attacks, and this one's the synth shot is essentially this resampled, but really what I want to use it for is the tail end, and I'm using it as an example because you want to use something kind of tail-ish, right? You want something with a little bit of reverb tail. All right, so now that you got those 3 sounds, I got an initiated patch right here. I turned off all of the different stuff that's going on with the processing. We'll go through that as well. We got the rack for you guys. We're gonna give you guys these 3 samples too, so you guys can fuck around with them if you want. So if I open this up, let's go ahead and start off. So basically, I got a blank Serum here. So you can do this a bunch of different ways, but if you have your reverb tail, right, you want to throw that into an oscillator, and you want to use spectral for that, right? Because spectral kind of stretches the sound and gives you a really, really tail end of the sound. It's not very perky, it's not very attacky with using spectral. We're gonna use sample for that. If I just kind of press play on this real quick. Here it's got the whistle, but it doesn't have the attack of it. That's because this scan now. Make sure this scan is set to 100. You could set it at 200 too for some of them if you want to mess around. Kind of just weird stretching, but we have it set to 100, levels all the way up, and then the octave is +1. There is another couple oscillators, which we're gonna drag in these samples. This next sample, I'm gonna turn this off and show you the next sample, and we're gonna drag it into oscillator B. We're gonna drag in this one right here. It's gonna sound like this. Make sure you kind of have an idea of what pitch it is. It's that right there. We're using that for a little bit of attack. It also has some nice tail, and we're using it in sample mode. We put that up 1 plus octave 2, level all the way up. And then oscillator C is gonna be using the kind of more attacky kind of crane bamboo sample. Let me show you this. Now this one, what we did is we had to adjust the level with an LFO, which I'll show you that, but let's just turn it up so you know what it sounds like. Just a straight little hit, right? So because this is a sample, we had to kind of dial in our own LFO shape to it because there's a lot of tail end of the sample. So if you make some LFOs like so, this one, what we did is we set this to quarter and we set this to envelope. Essentially what that's gonna do is it's gonna cut the sound off a little bit faster so we can be a little bit more attacky. So you guys can go ahead and adjust that, add that LFO right on top of that level and set it to like 58%. So it just makes it even shorter, right? You can even go faster if you wanted to. If you want just to be super attacky. But for right now, that's all we need. All right, now that we got that, there's a lot of different routing and stuff. There's some macro stuff, which we'll get into. Don't worry, you'll be able to follow along. Nothing crazy. So that sounds pretty good. Next, let's open up oscillator B again. Let's hear what this sounds like together. So we have the attack from B, right? That happens just very quick in the beginning of the sound because we're not getting a lot of attack from, sorry, we're getting the attack from C. We're not getting a lot of attack from B, and we're definitely not getting a lot of attack from A. But do you hear the reverb that we're getting from this? Now, you could kind of do it your own way if you want to add your own reverb, which we do. And you can get some really interesting sounds that way, but it's nice to have like a reverbed oscillator. So you want like a super reverb sound, a kind of mid sort of attacky sound and reverb, and then you have your attack. Those are like the 3 layers, essentially.
It's so nice to have spectral in Serum now.
Because you can take something that maybe isn't super reverby and kind of stretch it a bit with spectral and kind of make it that way.
It almost feels like a granulator.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost there, but it has like this really, it's kind of like a signature texture.
Yeah, it's the texture of the sound for sure. Now, you could probably just do this with one of these sounds if you wanted to. I think layering them is the best way. Like even if we didn't use these, like just this alone, even just as is, like this will sound probably pretty cool. Watch. That's not bad. Those are just like Perc sounds, you know what I mean? But if you layer it with some spectral, we get that little bit of that whistle, that piss in there, right? Also, noise is a big part. A lot of times these sounds, I've seen sounds like this, the Moonlove sound, which is kind of like a piss whistle, is just noise, right? If you just take a noise oscillator, Art Pink, and even if you add a little bit of attack with an LFO on it, we don't have any envelopes going on right now, but if you wanted to, you could do that. You know, you could kind of hear it. Let me turn this off actually real quick. I'll just kind of show you guys.
Yeah, Boombox was actually the originator of the piss whistle.
Yeah,
you know?
Boombox originated a lot of shit, but yeah, their thing is kind of like this. This isn't what we're doing it as, but you essentially, if you put like an LFO, like a really fast LFO on this and just kind of, you get like a really fast, or you have it kind of a slow attack. You get that kind of flingy, and then with processing, you can kind of see where this could go. But I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. All right, so we got a little bit of ARP pink white noise. There's a lot of low end into it, which I'm gonna adjust in a minute. We gotta do just a little bit of routing. We got some weird shit going on here, right? Filter 1, we're using this oscillator C, and we're sending that to just filter 1. Do you see how this knob is set to filter 1? Normally it'll be like this. Set it over to just filter 1, make sure the buses are down. And what we're doing is we're just taking off just a little bit of top end off of it. So I'm gonna solo these so you can hear what that's doing real quick. Right, it's just taking off a little bit of that top end. It's a little bit too attacky. And then we have filter 2. So filter 1 is then going into filter 2, and filter 2 is a high pass filter, which is cutting the lows. See how I'm cutting the lows there, right? So you just kind of cut the lows of that. So we're just using the filters on these, I believe. And then oscillator B, oscillator A, these are set to go to none. So what that's gonna do is that's going to bypass these filters and not go to the main out. We are setting them to buses because each one of these is gonna have their own individual processing. And this is why Serum is so cool, Serum 2 especially, and you guys will see why we're doing this. So you're gonna wanna try to process these all individually if you can. Oscillator A, we're gonna send to bus 2 and make sure it's set to none. That's why this knob is all the way up to bus 2. If it was going to bus 1 and bus 2, that would be up as well, but it's not. We're just going to bus 2. Oscillator B is going to bus 2 as well, right? So we're sending oscillator B and oscillator A to the bus, and then oscillator C is going to the filters, which is then going to, so once we get to filter 2, right? So remember, this is going into filter 1, into filter 2, and then filter 2 is probably set like this normally to main. You want to switch this to none and set it to bus 1. right? So that way our routing is this goes to here, which then goes to bus 1. And then back forward here, you have oscillator A, oscillator B, both going directly to bus 2. We're not going into these. These two oscillators are going into bus number 2. Okay, so I know it's a lot there, but try to follow along. This is really important.
It's all individual processing.
Yes, so oscillator A and oscillator B, let's start with those guys. I'm gonna turn off C and the noise for now so we could just talk about A and B because they're both going to bus 2. So with bus 2, first in the mix, you'll see that bus 2 is now set to main. So from bus 2, it's gonna go to the main, and that's where all of the processing is gonna be had. And then bus 1 is also going to main. But remember, those signals are separated. So you got oscillator C going here and oscillators A and B going here. So if we go into the effects tab and we go into bus 2 tab, we're gonna first use a little bit of multiband compression. And then this is the key, is this resonance peak right here. This resonance peak is we're finding the sweet spot of the piss. You wanna take a mid to gentleman size wiener and add a nice little spike and use a little bit of note so that guy moves around to the correct pitch. So as the note changes, you see the resonance changes too as well. See how it adds that little harshness to it, but it's kind of nice. Then we're gonna be cutting the lows again because we're getting a little bit of low end from this multiband compressor. So we're gonna cut some lows, and then we're gonna add just a little bit of hall reverb like so. And you see I have a macro on the bus reverb, which is essentially this reverb. So remember, A and B are getting this processing. Nice. Now also, we added a couple other processing right now. So we added an LFO that looks like this. This is to add a little bit more attack to A and C by adding some pushing in this high shelf right here. So if you set the frequency to 1812 over here on this EQ, and you add this LFO to this gain right here, it's gonna add, let's see, we got 14% probably. See how it's pushing up that little top end? It's adding a little bit more attack. You can hear the difference. I know we clip in like crazy, but we're not worried about that yet because we're gonna handle that over here. All right, now that we got that, let's turn those off and let's talk about oscillator C so that we can hear what's going on. So let's turn on oscillator C. Remember, oscillator C is just going into the filters, which are then going from the filters directly into bus 1. So bus 1, we're doing the same type of deal. We have kind of a high pass with a little bit of shelf, and we're adding that same LFO on the gain onto bus 1. Getting a little bit more attack. These are the numbers right there. Then a little bit of multiband compression. Look at the release all the way down. That's a key feature right there. And the attack is messed up in the gain. A little bit distortion with some peak resonance as well. Soft clip. If you notice, we also, I think, put note on the frequency here, so it's kind of moving this peak to the actual note.
A lot of companies don't do that.
Yeah.
And their presets only sound good on one note.
Yeah, that's why note is really cool. It's a little hard to dial in at times, but it's definitely a nice feature. And then again, a high pass again, because we got to cut those lows. And then we're going to go ahead and use this nice convolve, a studio rat, which is a nice room sound. Very, very, very minimal. You can kind of hear it's very minimal sounding, but it's nice. We also used velocity on some of these sounds because we wanted it to have varying degrees. And in Serum, you have to use the velocity to get that. That's up to you guys. I'll explain that in a moment. But now that we got those all going in and getting their individual processing, let's turn them all on. Let's bring the noise back on. We got our level at 10.8 or 53%. That's pretty good. All right, let's go back into this. I'm gonna turn the volume down a bit because it's clipping pretty bad. We're gonna do another big resonance PP clip like so. We're gonna go ahead and add that. I think we're gonna add the note to the frequency as well. Frequency's at 152, set that to 41%. Now that's moving it, you hear it? It's adding that. It's adding that kind of low end to it, right? A lot of gain on this one, quite a lot of gain. Now that that's sounding pretty decent, let's go ahead and add in this next PP filter, another PP. This is just another resonance peak. We're setting the cutoff here at 862. You can also set the filters to key track now in Serum 2, which is sick. I don't know if you know you can do that. So now we don't really need the note on that because you have key tracking automatically. Tons of resonance. Frequency on the right is all the way down. We're not using that. And the mix is at 86%. We put a macro on this, so you can kind of move this around if you wanted to, right? So this one is actually set to like right there. Is kind of where you want to set it. Kind of a nice thing to be able to get different pitches out of it. That's about where I want it. Next, let's go ahead and add a little bit of tube distortion with some drive and half of the mix and a little bit of pre-filtering here as well. And then we have this LFO on the drive. Watch this. This is gonna add a lot of crunch and distortion. Kind of balances it a little bit because it's doing a little bit of clipping in it because it almost like chills it out.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying every time that you have like one of those big PP resonances, putting distortion on it right after really balances it out. Or just like you were saying, clipping.
Yep, or even before too, because you're really pulling out that resonance too. We have that kind of balancing in a bit. We can turn up the volume a bit more. Let's go ahead and add another EQ. Let's cut those lows because we're getting a bunch of extra shit in there that we don't need. So we got another low cut. But I have a macro on the high pass, so you can kind of adjust this where you want. You can cut the lows a lot more if you wanted to. And then lastly, a little bit of reverb like so. Hall reverb, you can kind of see we have the mix up pretty high. And then lastly in here, you can actually add this velocity. We had it on the amp. So we went to the matrix. So if you don't want to do it on each individual level, you can just put velocity and then you can select over here in global amp, which is essentially the volume, and turn that up all the way and have it going both ways. That'll add velocity to it. Let's hear it in context so far. It's probably sounding pretty good. We just need to clean it up a bit. Oh wait, let me turn off this one. Now that we got that, let's get just a tiny bit more of processing in here. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of width now with the utility. You guys can do this in FL if you want, if you got like any stereo spread. We're gonna add some low cuts, a little bit of low mid kind of scoop, and then a little bit of high, getting up that white noise. A little bit of reverb at the top here. What kind of reverb we got? Just a little bit of low cut and a little bit of high cut. Nice dry wet, pretty standard reverb. And then we have this frequency shifter on here too. This I think is automating at times where we have different things. So if you want to put like a fine tune on the frequency, you can kind of have it move and shift a bit at times. It's really not being used that much. I think it's only used in one part. And then a flanger to kind of spread it out. Now let's hear it in context and hear what that sounds like. We on fire! Not bad. You can see what you can do with just a couple Perc sounds. You can get an insane ISO style trap lead just by using some Percs and some Serum too.
Yeah, and something else too. This sound is like a really good sound to teach yourself the routing of Serum too.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, they don't really understand the buses yet, you know, going into the main, and just practicing exactly what we just did right here is gonna help you so much with that routing. The other thing I was gonna say too is if you guys notice, we're using the same shape of EQ in all of the steps of the sound. And that's just because we're adding a lot of stuff and we want to kind of keep that same shape going out.
Yeah, you kind of have to like remember, like as you add some new ingredients to it, like new sauce with distortion and compression, you still have to keep that shape because you'll shape the sound first and then you process it, right? Yeah. And it's gonna process that shaped sound that you had, but it's also gonna add additional shit that we have to cut out again and then reshape and then add more and then cut out, reshape. So we're kind of just, I don't know, I feel like we're like kind of massaging it in, you know what I mean? We're sort of molding it like clay in a sense, like every little step matters. So hopefully you guys learned something from that. I know that was super in depth. With Serum 2 being out, a lot of these sounds are gonna be a lot more in depth. All these sounds you heard right here are in the pack, including all the drums. This is all made exclusively with Quest for Bass Vol.2, the early access. And of course the project file file itself is there. If you want to get tons of other project files, you can check out our Patreon. But there's another 6 project files. So if you guys haven't heard those out, go check them out and the link down in the description below. And if you guys want us to do more kind of breakdowns like this, or maybe more in depth, let us know in the comments. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know we enjoyed teaching that. We got tons of more content on the way for you guys. The pack is out, and now we're definitely excited to be putting out more content. So make sure you guys want to get the pack. We got a special right now where we got Quest for Bass Volume 2 and Quest for Bass Volume 1 for half off. You get Quest for Bass Volume 1 for half off right now.
Yeah, it's more than half, really.
More than half off. So you can get both of them. It's a sick deal. You guys can check that out on the website as well too.
This is like some of the most heavy project files.
There's a lot to be, it's not, the education in this pack alone is definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's huge. Invest in yourself.
That's right. So we'll see you guys at the live stream, October 6th at 2 p.m. PST. We'll see you guys there. Let us know what you guys make with the pack. Let us know what you guys are thinking. Comment down below. Thank you. Like the video, subscribe, comment. We're out, bro.
We out, baby.